Hi, and thanks for listening to A to Z for Moms podcast. I'm Jody Martin, and if this is your first time listening to the podcast, thanks for tuning in. We have a weekly lineup that goes as follows. Monday, Motivational Monday, kick off the week with inspiration and self-help. Teaching Tuesday is about homeschooling insights and educational guidance. Whip It Wednesday is Culinary Adventures and Cooking Tips. Parenting Perspectives on Thursday. You can get advice, stories, and support for parenting. Food Storage Friday. Learn about food storage and preparedness. And Money Magic for Moms on Saturday. Discover entrepreneurship and ways to make money from home. You can listen to this podcast on all your major podcast platforms, as well as my website, a2zformoms.com, and also on my YouTube channel, A2Z for Moms Like Me, and that is also my TikTok username if you want to follow me on TikTok, A2Z for Moms Like Me. So, without further ado, also, if you have any other questions, comments, need clarification, or you needed one of the resources I talk about during the podcast, I usually link all the resources in each podcast or on the website, a2zformoms.com. If you can't find them, just shoot me an email. The address is podcast@a2zformoms.com. All right, well, today is Parenting Perspectives. It's Thursday, so we are going to go ahead and talk about gifts and Christmas today. Now, every podcast, we talk about 4 major talking points. And so you can kind of keep track if you're cleaning the house or doing something while you're listening. Today, the 4 we're going to talk about are, number 1, the joy of giving. Number 2, experiential gifts. I don't know if you say that differently. Experiential. Anyhow, do you ever say a word and you sound like, you're like, I read that in my head, but now that I say it out loud, it seems weird. But experience gifts. There we go. Number 3, gratitude and thankfulness. And number 4, Secret Santa family style. So let's first talk about number 1, the joy of giving. So one thing that I know as a parent myself, I have 6 kids, and also so many of my friends that have kids, around Christmas time, that there's a struggle there because, it's Christmas. You want your kids to enjoy Christmas and have gifts and have the most wonderful Christmas ever. But at the same time, you don't want it to be just all about the gifts, right? And you don't want to have a replay of the Harry Potter scene. There was 39 gifts last year, and why isn't there 30 or 40 this year? And, you don't want to raise a child like that, right? Nobody does. And so finding that balance between making it a magical, amazing Christmas for your kids while at the same time teaching them valuable life lessons and principle and giving them gratitude and all that. So one thing that I found is explore creative and meaningful ways to involve the kids in giving back during the holidays so that they can learn that joy of giving. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. In our family, one of the things that we do is we have my kids, they have one of their siblings each year for Christmas. Now, years ago we started, because we used to just draw names, and then that got hard because sometimes you'd have one kid would have the same sibling 2-3 years in a row, whatever. And so what we started doing was the first year when we made the change, everybody did the person just older than them. And so everybody had, and then the oldest had the youngest. And it looped around in a circle like that. So everybody had the person just older than them. And then the next year, we just continued up the line. So they had the 2 people older than them. And it just moves that way every year. It's way easy to keep track of because we can usually remember who they had the previous year. And so then they know who they have. And that way also, they always know who they have earlier in the year. I know for me, growing up, my family and my siblings, we used to just draw names. And sometimes my mom wouldn't get around to assigning everybody a sibling until like October, November. Sometimes it was November. And so we were like, hey, I'd like to start buying gifts for whoever I have, or, keep my eye out for certain things. And so this way, like I said, they always know in advance. But then it's super fun because we talk more about I mean, we always ask our children, what do you want for Christmas? But the focus is usually just in conversations, we talk more about what do you want to get for so-and-so? What have you asked so-and-so what they want? What do you think they would like? And so it's more about what they're giving than the focus of what they're receiving. There's also volunteer opportunities. You can take your kids with you. Don't let them miss out on some of those lessons and those neat experiences they could have with volunteering at a food pantry, at a charity drive, doing a fundraiser bake sale, things like that. Get them involved and finding ways that they can have that joy of giving and serving. Another thing they can create, because it can get expensive doing a lot of gifts for especially extended family, your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, whatever. And so have your kids help create personalized handmade gifts for friends and family. I was just laughing this morning, remembering, I'll have to pull it out, but I have a whole file of, I used to do craft shows years and years ago. And I had so many cute little poems that you could attach with simple gifts and give it. And it was so funny and just sweet and thoughtful. The one I was laughing at this morning was, I was trying to remember how it goes, but it started out, this Christmas you deserve the best, a Christmas unlike all the rest, and then it talks about all these things you could have given them, but it's too expensive, or where are you going to find that, and then at the end it says, we hope you enjoy your new washer and dryer, and it's all rhyming, but it ends, we hope you enjoy your new washer and dryer. And you give them that poem with a dish scrubber and a dish towel. So it's just cute. And you can get a dish scrubber and a dish towel at the dollar store. So it's a fairly cheap little gift, but it's something, it's cute, it's creative, and it's fun. And you can have your kids get involved with that. There's so many ideas. If you go on Pinterest, the hand sanitizer with little poems and stuff. My sweet little neighbor, one of them, she brought us over a pineapple yesterday. She said, we're delivering our Christmas gifts early because I want to have it done. And so she gave us a pineapple, and it had a little tag that said, what's that Hawaiian phrase? Melo kaliki laka is the Hawaiian way to wish you Merry Christmas. It says something like that. And it was just cute, like from the song. And it was a cute little Hawaiian type tag, and then it said love, from them, and super cute. It was just a pineapple. And the grocery store not too long ago, I don't know if they have them now, but not too long ago, they had pineapples on sale for like 98 cents each, and super easy gift like that. One year, I remember growing up, somebody brought us, my parents, a cheese grater and a thing of cheese. What did it say? And it had another cute little tag on it, and I can't even remember what it said, but I just remember it was so unique, because at the time I was a teenager, and I was like, why did they give us a cheese grater? And it was cute. It was the tag that said something. Anyhow, I don't remember. But there's so many fun little gift ideas. Get your kids involved with some of that stuff and find some cute things. Print out the little tags and let them color it if they're little. There's a lot of fun things. And like I said, you can do handmade gifts, making cookies, make fudge, brownies, anything like that. It's that joy of giving. And then it's kind of a double whammy, because you get the quality time of making it together as your family and then delivering it. So you get all that experience. It's kind of kills multiple birds with one stone, right? Some other things, just emphasizing the joy of giving and serving in general. One cute idea that I saw, I've never done it, I just saw it this year, but I love it, I think it's a great idea, was they would have their kids fill a garbage bag full of clothes and toys for Santa to take back to the North Pole and give to other kids, or to reuse or whatever. And I love that idea. That's so cute, because before they go to bed Christmas Eve, that could be a great tradition, is before you go to bed Christmas Eve, everybody fills a garbage bag and leaves it under the tree. And when Santa comes, he takes it and leaves new gifts, new clothes, new, other things. I thought that was super cute. And it's changing that focus. And honestly, as a mom, that helps eliminate some of the clutter and excess stuff in the house, right? Feeding the homeless, that's another great one to really help them focus on service and the joy of giving and helping others. Which brings us to number 2, experiential. Is that even a word? Experiential. It is a word, but it just doesn't, it's not one very commonly used. Experience gifts. Experiential. No, it's experience. Experience gifts. I really should have, it's funny as I'm typing notes and you read stuff and it makes sense, but then when you say it out loud, you're like, that's a word people just don't say and it doesn't make sense, but it does. Experience gifts. So shifting that focus from material gifts to experiences, building relationships. A lot of families will go on a family vacation or cruise or something instead of doing the whole Christmas gift stuff. And that's really cool because it's an experience that they're creating memories and things that they're going to do instead of material things that wear out or stop being trendy or break or whatever it is, or they grow out of, and so these experiences, they'll always have those memories. So gifting activities or outings that promote quality time together. So even just things like, depending on your budget, a family movie night, a nature walk, or a game day. Those are all stuff that's free. You can do that free and it doesn't cost anything. If you're on a tight budget and you can't afford a cruise or a trip to Disneyland or something like that, there are free things you can do. And that's kind of fun even to do it one night a week or a couple nights a week leading up to Christmas. That's something super fun you can do. All right, so we've talked about the joy of giving, experience gifts. Now let's talk about gratitude and thankfulness. Definitely, this is key when it comes to gifts and Christmas and changing that perception for your children. Fostering a sense of gratitude by discussing the importance of appreciating what we have. One of the best things I think that for my kids is, it is funny, they say comparison is the thief of joy, but sometimes comparison helps you appreciate what you have as well. And what I mean by that is when we watch watching movies where you can have a discussion with your children of, oh, aren't we so blessed because, in this movie, they had this challenge they had to overcome. Or whatever it is, it gives you kind of this renewed sense of gratitude and appreciation for what you have. Some movies, especially around the holidays, I would highly, highly recommend this one. It's called The Greatest Gift. It's actually got James Gardner in it. And I really, really love that. That is one of my favorite movies, and it is so amazing. That is strong. It's definitely an impactful movie. Watch it as a family. It's called The Greatest Gift. Another one would be like Annie. You can talk about orphans and how, in her case, it turns out fantastic, but how many orphans and how hard was her life, and she didn't have parents, and here she didn't know all these things. That when they sing their opening song, It's a Hard Knock Life, and one of the opening songs, and she talks about Santa, who's that, and all these things that you can talk to your kids about. Have them watch the movie and have the discussions. Those discussions outside of these experiences is what's going to be key as a parent. It's taking the opportunity to have those discussions and point out things because they might have glossed right over it or not really paid attention or noticed because they're focused on this or that or the puppy dog or, something. And so taking that time to talk about, well, what do you think about this? Oh, do you think, how would you feel if that was you? Teaching them some empathy, some compassion, putting themselves in someone else's shoes. Those type of things are going to help foster this gratitude and thankfulness for what they have. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is another one. Now, I'm talking the 1971 one. The one with, oh my goodness, now his name just skipped me. Gene. Is it Gene? Anyhow. The 1971 one. You look at the poverty situation that Charlie's family lived in and all these things and I mean, even more Christmas themed, you have the Grinch. And I mean, there's multiple versions of the Grinch. There's the Jim Carrey one, there's the classic old cartoon one, and then there's the newer one with Benedict Cumberbatch. Did I say his name right? Anyhow, I really like him as an actor, but that one, his is probably my favorite, and I think that one's just called The Grinch. Because one is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and then anyhow, but it seems like they all have slightly different names. But anyhow, the one that's just called The Grinch, it's the newest one. It's a cartoon, but it's more like 3D animated, if that makes sense. And their stories are all, I mean, they're all general The Grinch Stole Christmas storyline from Dr. Seuss, right? But they all have their own little take on it a little bit. The thing I love about this last one, the most recent Grinch, is it talks about, it's not like he was just this mean, awful person. It was, he grew up in an orphanage, and he was alone, and he was lonely, and he had never experienced love, basically. And he had never had anyone teach that to him. And so it wasn't so much that he was this awful, horrible person. It's that he didn't know any different. He didn't ever experience difference. And I love that, because it shows like he actually wants that. And once he realizes what he's been missing, he actually wants that. And he enjoys that. So it's really interesting. It's more of an empathetic version of the story. So that's some, and then you have gratitude activity. So creating a gratitude jar. That's something you can just write down, or if your kids are little, or just time. Sometimes we just talk at the dinner table like, okay, everybody say something they're grateful for, kind of like you do at Thanksgiving, but we do it year round. Or we pick specific people in our family, like what's something everybody's grateful for about Jordan, about Addie, or whatever, and we all would say something we're grateful for about that person. And it's good, and especially when we go around the family and everybody has a turn, because when it's your turn, everybody's saying these wonderful things about you, and it just makes you feel so good. And then when you're saying things about them, they're feeling as good as you felt, and it builds that gratitude and thankfulness. And another Christmas tradition we do in our house that we started about 11 years ago, is at Christmas we only do 3 gifts. Occasionally we've done 4 of including a book, but basically we liken it to the 3 wise men, and how the 3 wise men brought the 3 gifts to Jesus, and there was gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Well, of those things, one was a need, one was a want, and one was a spiritual gift. And so you had the need was gold, the want, I always mix up frankincense and myrrh. I think myrrh was a want, like it was a luxury perfume type thing, and then frankincense was, or maybe I mix those up. Anyhow, one of them was like a luxury perfume, just a nice thing to have. And then the last one was something that was more medicinal. It was used a lot in burials and part of the like burial process and all that. And it was more of like a spiritual type thing. So they had a need, a want, and a spiritual thing. So we started doing that. The kids could ask Santa for one thing they wanted, and then they would get a clothing gift of something they needed, and that would vary from kid to kid. And it wasn't like one item, but we put it all in one box. And again, it varied from kid to kid. If they needed new shoes, they would get shoes in their box. If they, needed winter coat, they would have that. So it wasn't like it was even Stevens. And it was nice as parents, because sometimes you'd have a kid that they were really good on everything, but all they needed was a new winter jacket, and that's what they would get. Whereas another kid might be like, oh, they needed some new outfits and they needed a new pair of shoes. So if we had wrapped those individually, it would seem like one kid got a lot more gifts than the other, but they were still getting what they needed. So putting all the needs, all the clothing items in one box, really it equalized things like that. Everybody got the same amount of gifts. And then they would get a spiritual gift as well. And that was usually something homemade. And we would pick a different theme. So like one year we did journals, and everybody got a journal, and we talked about the importance of writing down journal and history, and just writing your thoughts and feelings down. And then one year we did blankets, and we likened the blanket to the Comforter, the Holy Ghost, and how the Holy Ghost will protect you and keep you warm, and and all that. We've done blankets actually two or three times over the years in the last 11 years. We did one with temples. It was all temple focused, and we did anyhow. We just usually do a spiritual gift, something along that line. So that's what we do. And then they Santa will give them their one gift, and Santa fills their stockings and everything else. And if he fills their stocking, gives them one gift, and everything else is from mom and dad, or they get their one sibling gift. We have loved it. It really has made the whole Christmas process, it shifted that focus to more about giving, and it's more about service, and it's taken so much stress off the holidays. It's wonderful. And like I said, we don't have the fights of so-and-so has more gifts than I do, or, nobody's feeling left out because everybody's got the same amount of gifts. And, that was something that has really worked for us, and we've really enjoyed doing that over the years. So, okay, we've talked about the joy of giving. We've talked about experiential gifts, experience gifts, and gratitude and thankfulness. Number 4, lastly, we're going to talk about Secret Santa family style. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this, but either way, it's family style. So number 1, you can introduce the concept of a Secret Santa within your own family. So each family member is assigned another family member, and they're responsible for doing something kind or thoughtful for that person. So it could be like an act of service, a note of appreciation, or help them with a chore, just to encourage that thoughtfulness and consideration for others. You could have them do it every day for the whole month. You could have them do it randomly throughout the month. You can have them do it one day, one act of service or one gift. The fun thing about this is I like, especially when it doesn't include an actual gift, but it's more acts of service and things like that. I love that because it shifts that focus. It goes back to the experiences, the relationship building, not materialistic things, but it shifts that act of service and kindness. And for my kids, it's so fun because like they'll do something. Sometimes we encourage this stuff all the time, not just as a Secret Santa, but we'll say things like the other day I said one of our kids had dishes and he was working and just busy, and he hadn't gotten to the dishes, and it had been a day and a half. And I told my girls, I was like, it'd be so nice is if, because he's working today and he won't be back until this time and he won't have a lot of time. Wouldn't it be so nice if somebody surprised him and had the dishes done for him, and it's cute because they get all excited. Or we've done things of like, you know what, you should go make so-and-so's bed, make their bed for him, or do little things, especially if it's their chore. And then it's kind of fun. And unfortunately, sometimes teenagers are jerks and they don't notice and they don't recognize, and they need a little bit of parental nudging to recognize it and be like, hey, did you notice somebody did your dishes for you? Who do you think did it? Because the ones who did it are usually so excited. They're waiting to see the reaction, and they're waiting for that. Not that they need the acknowledgement, but they're waiting to see the effect that their actions had on someone. And that's that exciting part, and it's to see their reaction. So if you don't do it within your own family, another thing you can do is Secret Santa for another family. It's super fun. We've done this a lot as a family, where we'll pick a family that, whether they're struggling or not, and we'll pick out gifts for family. We get to, know the family and kind of sizes or ages or things that the kids might be into. And then you go shopping, and then it's fun because your kids, they're going shopping, and you're like, oh, remember we're getting a gift for so-and-so. What do you think they would like? And And then you drop it off and you run. And sometimes you watch from a distance to see their reaction, and it's fun and it's exciting. And sometimes you're just giggling the whole way because you know it's going to be this amazing surprise. Some of the things you can do also is, or as well as, the 12 days of Christmas. That's a really popular one where you start the 12 days before Christmas, and you just drop off a little goodie at their door. And it can relate to Christmas, or to the 12 days, the partridge in a pear tree, 2 turtle doves. People have made it turn into that where it kind of relates, like partridge in a pear tree, they just give them a bag or a box of pears, and I've heard things like that where you kind of relate them. But you don't have to. You can just say, hey, we're doing the 12 days of Christmas. And it can be random other stuff, dropping off goodies or oranges or, fudge, cookies, whatever, some popcorn, things like that. And going every night for 12 days or every day, delivering it at different times even so they don't catch you. It turns it into a fun family thing that you can do together. My kids love doing that. The Secret Santa, or the doorbell ditching, we call it, where we'll take goodies, and we do this year round. We'll take goodies, cupcakes, anything like that. You put on someone's doorstep, you ring their doorbell, and you run because you don't want to be caught. You want it to be in secret. And my kids have so much fun, and I'll park with my headlights off, and we'll wait. And it's such a fun family outing, and they get to whoever wants to go goes, and then they come back and meet up to the car, and we talk about, oh, they almost caught us, or we were rounding the corner, because sometimes I'll go with them, and we'll be like, oh my gosh, we were hiding in the bushes, we were waiting for them to close the door, and they stood there talking forever, and you have all these fun stories and experiences that you're sharing as a family, and you're also spreading that joy and Christmas cheer and that love and all that. So if you do want to do something fun like that, we have a fun, cute little poem that I did up years ago. This is available on my What88 website. So the number 8, ate.com, like what 8 people ate, what88.com. And you can just search probably Christmas poem. It should come up. And this is what it says. Merry Christmas. We've been watching. We know that you've been good. So share a little Christmas treat with your neighborhood. Copy or print this paper 4 times or just 2. Deliver it with treats to a friend like we did to you. But do it soon and don't delay. Help spread Christmas joy within 2 days. If you don't want to get a second treat or more, simply post up this note on or by your front door. And it's just a cute little poem. And this one, you can do it in secret, or you can just give it to them. It doesn't matter either way. But it's a fun way to especially kind of get your neighborhood involved and everybody doing some fun stuff like that for spreading Christmas cheer. So there you have it. We've talked about the joys of giving, experience gifts, gratitude and thankfulness, and secret family style. If you have any questions, comments, if you have a hard time finding this poem, anything like that, feel free to shoot me an email. The address is podcast@a2zformoms.com. And again, you can watch my YouTube channel, A to Z for Moms Like Me, or follow me on TikTok, A to Z for Moms Like Me. And thanks for listening, and I hope you tune in tomorrow. So tomorrow I will be talking about food storage and locations and places to keep your food storage. So I hope that you're able to tune in and you enjoyed the podcast. Thanks so much for listening, and have a fantastic week. And almost a weekend. One more day till the weekend. Yay!